All right. So this particular presentation came way of Rachel, and we had like a sidebar conversation. And she was talking about like, what can I do with like the content that I have, and whether it's articles, videos, audio files. This presentation is going to show you like how to kind of like I'm using it more so as like a recipe. How can you take all this content, repurpose it, redesign it, redevelop it, and then put it back out there into the world and monetize it all at the same time. So I want you to look at this as not necessarily just taking content and repurposing content. I want you to look at it more so if you're baking a cake, if you're cooking in a kitchen, if you're putting ingredients in a basket, and then you're taking these ingredients and you're mixing and matching and you're being creative with them. And then from that, you're going to create new content. And then the original content, there's going to be opportunity to reuse that as well. So I'm going to go into like the quick step by steps on this. So if you're looking at the general ingredients for something like this, let's say you have a single video, you have a single audio file, you have, let's say, 4 articles or 4 blog posts, and maybe you have 6 emails that you've been sending out to clients that have opted in for something earlier on. You would source this as your ingredients. You would take these particular components, and then the first step of sourcing it would be, putting it into a pan and figuring it out like what am I going to create. So I'm going to look at this from a standpoint of like an SEO specialist, right? And again, hint to whoever our SEO specialist is in our particular networking group. Look at it from the standpoint of, okay, if I have a YouTube video and that YouTube video is talking about keyword searches, or I have a podcast episode, or I was a guest on a podcast and I'm talking about SEO and I'm talking about keywords, and I have a blog post about keywords and I have emails about keywords, I'm going to take that information and then I'm going to go to step 2. Step 2 is looking at all that information that's in my basket, looking at what am I baking in the oven, and then I'm going to ask myself a question. And in this case, I'm going to say, okay, how to research the best keywords for a great SEO result. And you can substitute that question for any question based upon your topic matter. For Rachel, it can be easy as saying like, what's a good way to get leads from using LinkedIn? Right? So just create a question. Then after that question, then you want to kind of insert like a numbers, like how many tips is this particular thing that you're baking is going to supply? Because numbers is something that people can say, okay, it's 5 steps, it's 7 steps, it's 9 steps, it's 3 steps. It's something that they can comprehend and make it very easy for them to say, okay, all I have to do is these particular steps to get the result that I'm looking for. Number 2, it's if I want to like look at it from a global standpoint, I want to make it sequential, make it easy for someone to say, okay, they're going to go through these steps, but what are they going to get from these steps? So in this case, we're talking about keywords. So A would be finding the right keywords. B would be verifying those keywords. C would be using those keywords. D would be additional keyword tools. And then E would be bonus secret keyword pro tips. And again, all this information is coming from the videos, the podcasts, the articles, everything that you already created. You're not necessarily creating new content. You're just taking old content and you're streamlining it into a process to where now you're repurposing it with a new direction, with new goals in mind. Then you go into step 3 of step 2, which is listing the supporting ideas and the arguments, right? So in this particular one, I'm saying the first one is finding the right keywords. The sub of that is setting expectations, understanding search volume, what is a cost per click, right? So I'm just creating the outlines, and this document that you're looking at, exactly what I'm saying is exactly how I built this document. I went through, I created my key topics. Then for each key topic, then I put the subtopics, and then I'm literally building out this document much like I'm building out a course or a mini course. So step 3, after you have the outline, much like this video, it makes it very easy to then go through all the steps, read the steps, much like you're having a conversation with someone like I'm doing right now, and you're creating a video. And in that video, you can break those segmentations up. So in this case, I'm saying setting expectations, 5 minutes. Search result volume, 5 minutes. What is cost per click, 5 minutes. The total combined of these 3 would essentially then define finding the right keywords, which is a 15-minute. So that's a 15-minute lesson that I just created, or a 15-minute module with 3 lessons that are each 5 minutes apiece inside this new video. Next, after that, after this video is done, based upon the original content that I've had to create the outline to then create the video, then I'm going to take the video and I'm going to strip out the audio. So now I have a video, then I have the audio from the video. Next step would then be take that audio and transcribe it. So now I have a video, I have an audio, and now I also have a transcription. And this transcription could be a tutorial quick guide. It can be a punch list, a checklist. It can be an ebook, whatever you want to call it. But all it does is supports the video and the audio file with written content. Then going into 6 is then uploading all this content into an environment. So for you, it could be your webpage, it could be a course platform, it can be anywhere that you can put all this content into one situation. So that way, when your user is looking at this content, they can access it from one portal. So in this case, it could be Influencersoft, which is a platform that allows you to create courses and have courses online. So then I can create all this content, make it a mini course, and I'm taking it and I'm putting it on the internet to say, hey, you want access to this information. Here's where all this information is in one location. It has videos, it has audio, and it also has a PDF. Number 7 would then be creating like a marketing page. And this doesn't have to be completely blown out. It doesn't have to be all bells and whistles. It could just be a simple page to say, hey, if you're looking for SEO information, I have the answers for you. You would then take the content from, I think it's in here, it's like your key benefits. Well, your key benefits is already in your outline, right? You already did that work. You're talking about like the source of the content. Well, all the source of the content is going to be your YouTube video, the podcast episodes, the blog posts, the emails. That's the additional content that you can put in there as a bonus. So you're not going to just throw away the original content. You're going to have the original content as bonus items, but now you have this new mini course based upon the principles of all this content summarized into one video, into one course with 3 lessons in one module, and then you have the bonus items on the side. So you're taking your original content, you're recreating new content, and you're collaging them all together to package one product to say, hey, I have something that's going to help you with your solutions, and I also have additional value items included with that. So going into like the nutrition facts of this is just like, it's inspirational, it's educational, it's motivational, it's insightful. And then obviously you're giving whoever the user is action, because again, you're doing it in the lesson format to say, okay, module 1, you're going to be able to learn about keywords. Module 2, you're going to learn about like how to search for keywords. Lesson 3, you're going to learn about this. Lesson 4, you're going to learn about that. So it's staged into where they have actionable items. And then going into like the last, like how to garnish this mini course. So we talked about putting on the extra items that you originally had, which is your original videos, your original podcast, and everything as bonus items at the end. The goal would be to then package all this up and deliver it with a $ associated to it. So you can do it as a $37 course. You can do it as a $97 course. The time that it would take you to create all this, I would say you could probably do all this information in literally one day. Because again, you're not recreating new content. You're taking old content. You're creating a new outline, you're repurposing it, you're recording new videos to then support the old content that you originally had and package it all into one system. Does anyone have any questions?
You're so creative how you come up with like
do it as a recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Can you drop that for us so we can go through it like a checklist?
Yeah, I'll put it in the Facebook group, so that way you can. I always create these documents and I always put them in there, so that way you can kind of go through step by step. But the idea here is that if you're sitting on content, and again, I think everyone here pretty much has created some kind of content at some time, and it kind of gets lost. All you have to do is find the commonalities between the content. So if you're talking about LinkedIn, well, everything you ever talked about is LinkedIn. So put them in a system, block them out, make them into Legos, stack them up, and then deliver it as a course or a mini course.
I have a question. If I want to do something like this, but I definitely don't have the bandwidth or the interest to do it, is someone like Kathy, virtual assistant, am I able to hire someone like that to do what you suggested? Is that something Kathy does? And if not, are there virtual assistants that I could pay them to take my content and repurpose it like you're talking about? Because it's a genius idea, but I just know upfront there's no way I'm ever going to do it.
Yeah, so I mean, anything that I'm demonstrating is either one, I'm doing it myself, right? So I have access to teach you how to do it or teach someone else on your team how to do it. Now, if Kathy wants to do it, she could definitely do it, because I mean, I have the step-by-steps on how to do it. But if she doesn't want to do it, then I have recommendations for other people that can then step in and help you move forward with that process as well.
I don't do it.
Boo.
Not yet. That might be something I look into.
There's definitely people that do that though.
Yes,
You can
absolutely.
find,
Absolutely.
you know, content, you know, experts who can take what you have and figure out what to do with it. I mean, absolutely. I mean, one of the things I did, I think, I don't remember if we talked about this, is like for my emails that I send out every other week, I literally pulled them all from LinkedIn posts that I've written over the last 2 years. Like I went through all my posts and pulled out posts that I felt like could be repurposed into an email format. And that's been working really well. And I've been getting good feedback on the content. So
I
So
love your
imagine-
emails because they're short and to the point. Here's what you can do. So I can just read it like that and move on. I really like that.
So SA, is there a, I know there's a better way to do what I'm doing, kind of playing off what Rachel just said. I just started a Word document for each month, and I'm taking all of the old posts that came up on Facebook that I feel are still strong. They're still in integrity with what I teach and what I believe, and then putting that almost into a calendar for next year so that next year I'll have a little more ease, flow, and grace. But I don't know if there's a better way. I'm sure there's a better way to do it than what I'm doing it, but I'm trying to grab it because it's popping up. And originally I was typing straight into those platforms. Now I'm doing it differently where I'm typing somewhere else so that I have it moving forward.
can I share something, what I use?
Sure.
So Jen, I have something similar to that, but I do it as a Google Doc. Let me open it and then I'll share my screen, because I don't know if you can do it in Word, but I know in Google Docs, what you can do is almost set up a hyperlink table of contents at the top where I put like a title for each post. And so instead of having to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, I can just look at,
So you can search like LinkedIn
I'll
context
show
or
you.
whatever.
You can do that in Word too.
You can do it in Word.
Yeah.
It's almost like anchors, like, you know how some email
Right.
newsletters have like the anchors at the top and it pulls you down. So I'll share my screen real quick
So-
and you can see it.
What she's talking about, it's called the table of contents, and you can create that in pretty much any document. And that's what I use in the document that I have right now. Like those blue links at the top are table of content links. The
Yeah.
only issue with that is like you're limited as far as having everything into that one document. So what I would use in recommendation, in addition to what Rachel's talking about, is Google Sheets. Because Google Sheets allows you to then not only link to Google Docs, but then you could have everything organized in one document, and then you can use the formulas to put cells together to create new content for you.
Yeah, so just to show you how, like, I have this, so I could like click on this title here, if it lets me, and then it drops me right down to that.
So what my goal is because I've been punched in the face several times in the last few weeks with this doggy issue, is getting this set up now moving forward, where if I had something in existence, I could give it to a VA and say, pull 5 things from this document, get it posted on all my platforms, and my business not shut down. Whereas like I've not been writing or posting or anything right now because only I am the only one that knows where everything is.
Yeah. So if you're doing it that way, then I'll show you my screen. And I don't want you guys to be alarmed, because I've been doing this for a period of time, so I have way more content than you may have right now, but it could easily grow into this. Share my screen. So for the book club, some of you are book club members for the Boss Uncaged book club. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so you can see all of this is just titles, right? It's the release date, the month, the week, the title. All this information is just how I'm organizing the book club. This is all the content that you guys are visually seeing, but behind the scenes, this is all the book review, the book overview is all in this document. And then what I've done is that I've combined these cells to create new content. So what does that really mean? Let me show you. See how this is just stripping out and it's just making it a straight line? It's pulling it from the cells from that other document. And each one of these things that are below, these tabs, are doing the same thing. They're all sourcing from that main first tab, but I'm organizing it in a different fashion. So if I just want to pull out a quote, I got quotes right here, but these quotes are essentially coming from another tab inside this document. These images are all relative images that I'm pulling into this document to give me updates without me having to search for anything. So once I give it to a PA, they could easily go into this document and say, okay, I need this image. without me having to tell them anything, because it's completely organized to where I can say, okay, I need you to go in, I need you to pull in image number 25 with a particular quote with that particular image. Now, this is more organized, but once you get to the point to where you have, I think I have, I don't know, like thousands of this stuff in here, you're gonna have to be that organized to be able to maintain it. Because once you get past, I say about 300 posts or something like that, doing it in a Google Doc is going to drive you absolutely crazy without having it in a spreadsheet to keep it organized. Does that make sense?
That Kathy can help with that.
Yeah.
Getting the documents set up. That's really cool. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I definitely think that one of the pieces for any of us who create content where there's evergreen content is like to reuse that as much as possible. I mean, a lot of this stuff there's no expiration date on it. So, you know, no one's going to remember that it was posted 6 months ago if you tweak it a little bit.
I want to remember it was posted 6 days ago.
Right. Maybe 6 days.
For 6 hours.
Yeah. Go to the platform. I mean,
There's
like
just
Twitter,
so much.
Twitter, 5 minutes
Yeah.
later, it's gone and forgotten about. So you can definitely recycle posts all day, all night. And I think, you know, Rachel's question was a really solid one. And why I wanted to kind of present this was like, if you have content and you're not posting the content, then take that content, create a video of that content, use the audio from that content, use quotes from that content, and then just repost it. You can definitely post variables of the same different things in different ways. And a lot of times you may see me doing it. I may post it in the Boss Uncaged Academy, and then I may post it on Boss Uncaged Book Club. Then I may or may not post it inside of Success Champions. And I stagger them in different time frames.
So can I ask you about books then? So a few of us are authors, and for these anthologies, what would you recommend for doing something with our chapter? Like I've thought about doing an audio version of my chapter and making that an opt-in or a freebie with when you purchase the book or what have you. But is there anything in particular that you think that would be good with that?
Like
We have the chapter and we have a practical practice that goes with each chapter as well.
a video will be your friend. That's why in this presentation, I was talking about creating all that content into a video, because the video is the source. And then from that video, you can make audio and then you can make transcriptions. So I would say start with the video and do that as the opt-in. Give them opportunity to get, you know, a 5-minute segmentation from the author about why they written what they've written, or even reading a segmentation of that book itself in a live video. And then from there, you'll probably get way more conversions than just putting audio or copy.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. All right, I think that's it. Any last questions?